making deliveries today. It is just me, so the van is quiet. So I thought I would hop on here and record a little message that I have had stuck in my brain for this last week. And generally when something gets stuck in my mind, I know that I'm supposed to share it. If for no other reason, just for my own cathartic purposes. So here goes. I've been reading this book about what it means to be a legendary woman, and my greatest desire in life is to be known as a legendary woman of God. First and foremost by my husband and kids, but really everybody that I come into contact with, I hope that that's just something that radiates out of me, and that is their takeaway in my dealings with them. Is wow, she is a legendary woman of God. That's what I desire. And as they were talking about identity in this book, God just kind of dropped this thought in my head, it's like, Stacy, you can't embrace your new identity until you let go of your old one. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes pretty good sense. And God brought back to my memory a time when I really struggled with this. And I had spent days and weeks and months sharing with everyone around me years and years ago for the very first time that I was pregnant and that Ben and I were having a baby. And then all of your relationships with everybody who knows you becomes about you being pregnant, right? They want to know how you feel, when are you due, how far along are you, what changes are you noticing, you have doctor's appointments. There's all this excitement that surrounds being pregnant, and it's a fun time. There's a lot of changes that happen, and it's exciting, and I really lived into that season of life. And it wasn't just like a momentary passing thing. I was living into the identity of being pregnant. That's what we say, I'm pregnant, and I felt it so strongly. And I loved it. I loved being pregnant. I guess that's obvious as I've had 6 kids. But I can distinctly remember coming home from the hospital with Lila, the very first one, and going into the bedroom and laying her in her bassinet and looking over at the dresser and seeing her little sonogram picture with the pregnancy test laying beside of it. And I just started to cry. Not because of postpartum hormones and all of that. I just started to cry. Because in that moment, though I had already gone through labor and childbirth and I knew she was here, it struck me, you're not pregnant anymore. And I was like, I am not pregnant anymore. I am not who I was. And it was really a moment of bewilderment, though I knew the pregnancy was going to come to an end, because they all come to an end. No one is pregnant forever. And yet I found myself struggling with that. And I had to go through that process of letting go of all of the joy associated with being pregnant to embrace the joy of motherhood, which far exceeds what I could have ever found just through pregnancy. And so I thought that was interesting, because we do go into different phases of life where we have had a long period of being a particular person in a role that we identify as so strongly that it really permeates who we are. And that's great for that season where that's what you're called to. Everything about my life when I'm pregnant is called to growing and developing and fostering that life within me. What I eat, what I drink, when I sleep, my body is doing it on its own without me even doing it, right? All of those cells are telling the other cells what to do. The hormones are being secreted properly to maintain life. Like, all of those things are happening. All of my being is about that role and bringing that life into existence. But every role in life not just pregnancy. Every role in life comes to an end, and the transition is hard. And sometimes the process can be painful, much like childbirth, but it changes you. And it changes you for a purpose, because on the other side of that transition, when you accept that new identity, becomes a new call and a new mission and greater joy than you had before. And how do I know that? Because everything in God's word, everything that he created, always points to multiplication. It always points to a growing abundance. That is the season that we are in. Fall is the time of harvest. We are pulling in all the abundance of what we have grown in this last season. So I just want to encourage you that if you find yourself in that moment where your identity is changing and you feel a little bewildered and it's like, what is going on? You know, this is bizarro world. Hang on, just hang on, because on the other side of that, when you fully step into and fully embrace that next role, when you let go of what you were, you will find the joy in who you are now. See you real soon.